What is kicking, my dear viewers? I hope you guys are liking the variety and content as of late, as I have a lot of things in the work for this channel, especially now that I may be out of a job at the end of this month, which is pretty awful for me, but pretty awesome for you, as it means I have all the time in the world to create more sim racing content. Seriously though, thank you guys all so much for the recent likes, subs, and comments. I would be feeling way more stressed out about this whole situation, but feeling the trajectory of your support keeps the old anxiety in check. I was initially a little worried about setting a goal of reaching 500 subs before the drop of the new F1 2024 game at the end of this month, but now with just over a month left, we are halfway there. Y'all are killing it. We still got this season to get through, and the Spark Racing team is desperate for a finishing rate of at least 70% to appeal to the midfield teams. But as it stands, we are barely above 50%. Let's keep this momentum going after two strong back-to-back performances at Imola and Monaco. The name in the game at the intermediate to advanced level for almost any game, sport, or hobby is consistency. Consistency is where the good players are sifted away from the great players. Let's survive the sift, Driver Simon. For this week, we are at Spain. The new old layout, which really brings this track up from a 4 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10. That last chicane was such a boner killer, as you usually ruin a good run at the end with a terrible exit, or compromise the next run with a terrible exit. Or, of course, just spawn in a randomly patch of ice on a curb that kill you right before the end of a 100% Grand Prix. This weekend is looking to be pretty interesting. The race has a 73% chance of starting in the rain with it clearing up midway. Qualifying is probably dry though, so the Spark Racing team needs to decide how to approach the setup. We set the AI to 95 as Driver Simon is still not confident yet with the changes. I personally love him, but we still don't understand them just yet. Particularly turn 10 and 11, which inconsistently sets me up incorrectly for the final high-speed right-handers. Having a high downforce setup for the wet portion and in general would help a lot for that part of the track, but that will leave us vulnerable on the main straight. So the Spark team decide to let Driver Simon suffer through the wet portion to prioritize the lighter dry half by committing to the dry setup for the weekend. The free practice session goes smoothly across all the practice programs. I mean, other than that one near crash. Oh no. Oh. Thankfully, Driver Simon keeps it off the wall, and we finally get a chance to properly practice the racetrack the way the Spark Racing team prefers to. Stick on the hards, put on a full race load in, and practice till the checkered flag drops. Oh wow, actually might need to brake on a heavy load there. Or until Driver Simon makes a mistake and actually bends the car. Oh no! I mean, not really, but the game is so inconsistent with sim damage as I feel like that totally would have taken out the front wheels in a similar circumstance, so instead we just retired the car. So how many times did we destroy the car this season? Editor Simon, can you tally it up for us, including practice sessions? Thanks man, appreciate you.
AI a few weeks back. Check it out if you haven't. Just kidding, I totally slipped up a couple times. I used all remaining brake power to somehow keep the car out of the wall and get in the bank again. That is, if Driver Simon could keep the car straight up. But shit, let's make that 5 slip-ups.
For qualifying, we dropped the AI to 90 as we really don't feel comfortable on this track just yet. And Driver Simon is contemplating one last time whether to start on a wet setup in anticipation for the race. I forgot, it's gonna be a little wet. It's gonna start wet. Oh, it's gonna be brutal. Should I just get a wet setup for the first stage of the race? Try to pull away. Take note of this, dear viewers. I don't think I've ever seen the sun symbol with such a high percentage of rain. The Spark Racing team assume it's a game error and believe it'll be a sunny day in Spain for tomorrow's race, so we commit to the dry setup. And for our first banker lap, we put in a 114.5, which puts us in a promising P6. But by the time we get back to the pits, we are... oh, we're still P6. We're 4/10 faster than Nico and only a second off the clerk. I may have set the difficulty a tad bit too low, as according to F1Laps.com, I should be around 94, which tracks to how much faster I am against Nico. Anyways, we go out again on the same tire just in case for a ceremonial flying lap. Thanks to some mistakes by Driver Simon, we don't improve our time at all, but we still make it into Q2 thanks to our previous lap. And Nico just manages to get in as well. And for the second time this season, both Hasses make it out of Q1. Let's go, baby. Driver Simon didn't realize it, but looking at the performance chart, the bottom 5 teams are actually so close in pace, and in this weekend, the Ferrari engines are really coming to play. For Q2, we try to celebrate with Nico across the garage, but he's full business today and he's out on track already. We put on the beaten up tires from Q1 as we want to save a set for the race, and we're not really prioritizing getting Q3. However, the first banker lap is already compromised with a terrible exit of the final corner.
Oh, I forgot about my hot lap. Oh.
Thankfully, a terrible turn 1 and 2 end our pain early when we nearly end our session early.
That's what happens if you go to 5th gear mid-corner.
Even going back to the pits, Driver Simon has another snap moment. A lot of those high-speed corners require a lot of confidence and commitment, but each of those moments steal buckets from that well, bucket by bucket. Looking at the timing sheets, our Q1 lap should have gotten us right around the Q3 cutoff point. So Driver Simon is actually feeling pretty confident. We put in a 113.9 on a new set of boots, and Driver Simon is in Q3 for the second time in his career.
Q3! You definitely gotta raise the difficulty!
Unfortunately, Nico is unable to follow and he is out at P14. Maybe I should have kept the difficulty at 94, huh? Oh, sorry, buddy. We have a very strong chance at our first set of points here. Last time we got into Q3, we had an incident with the AI of Perez and Ocon, which granted us 5 place grid penalty at our not-so-home Grand Prix. So we gotta make the most of this. The Spark Racing team is trying to save a set of sauce for the race. So we go out on old tires, and unfortunately, hometown hero Carlos Sainz gets caught up behind us. Also on his flying lap. Neither of us really wants to budge to the point where Driver Simon just pushes beyond his limits and wham. Thankfully, we somehow don't incur a penalty from the stewards, but Driver Simon may need to bump up security going back to his hotel, because the Spanish fans are not going to be happy with that. Seriously though, how does that not get a penalty but my incident at Miami does? I guess the inconsistency in stewards across the season is actually on brand with the FIA, so... Anyways, we go out one last time on the allocated Q3 tires and we put in a 114.3, which nets us P10. I'm guessing Sainz was unable to start a final lap and he's only 5,000 seconds ahead of us, where his teammates will be starting on pole. We got some much needed acclaim with that as well. Nice. We raised up the difficulty to 94 and head out onto track, which we totally dropped the ball with the weather.
Oh shoot, it is gonna be a wet one. Oh man. Sunny Spain? Crofty, you want something?
Man, oh man, what a spicy turn of events. Has anyone else experienced this? Having a wet track, but starting on dry tires? If so, please do let me know how your race went in the comments below, because I imagine it'll be very action-packed like this one. So we are starting P9 thanks to the Ferrari team continually fighting with the Spanish Tifosi and sending Carlos to the back with some penalty. Look at how wild the strategies are. After a bit of back and forth between the internal Spark Racing strategy department and the in-game Haas team, we finally agree on a medium soft, medium hard 3-stopper strategy for the 66 laps around the Catalunya racetrack. This is going to be a very, very spicy one. Can Driver Simon match his record of 3 straight checkered flags in a row? Spain is not a particularly difficult track when compared to somewhere like Monaco, but that is exactly what scares the Spark Racing team. We do not want Driver Simon to get complacent or comfortable, because that is where careless mistakes come from. We have the best chance we've ever had for points, right at the moment where we have the most eyeballs and support behind the team. I am not exaggerating when I say that Driver Simon feels nervous for these races now that there is a semblance of an audience. Can we use that extra pressure to push us into achieving results we otherwise would not have been able to achieve? With the 5 red lights lighting up that Driver Simon can barely see, we are about to find out momentarily. Someone start them off! And they're off! A terrible start for the McLaren. It brings us to the middle of the track, and like Moses before him splitting the Red Sea, Driver Simon managed to split the sea of red and black, and we find ourselves fighting for P6 going into T1.
Oh, squeeze them out a little bit.
The battle with the Mercedes is not over, as Driver Simon has to go on the defensive as we enter the second sector. These conditions were some of the trickiest Driver Simon has ever driven in. How can slicks really be faster than inters? Does this happen often and I just never really pay attention? I have no idea, but the entirety of Sector 3 will be a nightmare to drive through, especially when you have a bunch of Mercedes bullying you around from behind.
Oh, they're gonna go up the inside at one point. I know it. Look. Oh, you man! Absolute man!
What a terrible move from the AI, leaving us both stranded with terrible exit. Say goodbye to P5 with that, buddy. No way in hell we're catching up to them. But who would have thought that we would be genuinely fighting for P6 with a couple of Mercedes?
I'm so slow here. Look how fast they are.
And a decent battle at that, with even a chance of a cool switchback moment, but alas, our racecraft is not quite there yet.
Try to stay with them. They might make a mistake and we could still regain the position.
Driver Simon is still coming to grips with these mixed conditions, but with a simple slip-up like that, the second Mercedes is passed. It also seems like these conditions were not only tricky for Driver Simon, but for the AI as well, with Sainz further burying himself at home with a mistake on lap 2. Which causes Danny Rick to pit for a new ring, unfortunately. Daniel has had no breaks this season. Poor guy. Norris and a train of cars is right on our tails. Another mistake like that and we will probably lose more than just one position. Just look at how much faster the Mercedes are in that last sector. We just don't have the confidence or the grip to really send it in those last 2 corners, and our pace is seriously struggling because of it.
If I could see some points at the end of the day, I will earn that race nickname, the Moist Master.
Okay, DRS is now available.
This race is for you, Marky.
The potential Moist Master makes another mistake and Norris slips on by with no problem. We are back to where we started at P9. Oh no you don't, goddamn it. Never mind. P10. The Spark Racing team is banking on the cars around us having a wet setup, because otherwise, we may have set the difficulty a tad bit too high, leaving Driver Simon to drown against a grid that we can only hope to not be lapped by. But seeing as we lose DRS and the cars are unable to mount an offense on the straight, the former may actually be true.
I can only hope the dry stages save me. The terrible line through here. Very terrible line.
But that dry setup and Ferrari engine can't save us if we make a mistake on the exit of turn 14.
Shit.
So we lose another position to the Alpine. And look at how much faster they are on the fast corners. The team is really betting on the dry stages to pay off in order to save our mortally bleeding race. That is, if we can even see the sun. I'm telling you, these mixed condition is unheard of for the Spark Racing team. Have you ever had a wet race with dry tires and DRS enabled?
See the end of the race. Weather report.
The radar showing a clear patch on its way. We've got 10 more minutes.
Anyways, apparently we got 10 more minutes of this madness, and the Alfa Romeo Bottas makes easy work of us. Since we have absolutely no confidence in our pace, we decide to let Nico by and not hold up his race any more than we have to. We can be a team player too. Good job, Driver Simon. By the start of the next lap of 7, we have fallen down to P13 with Joe closely behind us. In just 5 laps time, we have managed to fall more than 5 places. What a start to the best starting position of our career. Honestly though, we're not actually too flustered over here at the Spark Racing team. We still have a very long race ahead of us with the track eventually drying out. Despite no real evidence, we are confident in Driver Simon's ability to find his pace and consistency as the track dries out. And when that happens, our dry setup will finally show its hand. And look at that, Driver Simon is starting to find it as we speak, tucking behind Nico perfectly for the DRS. It's crazy how much better you can drive when following rather than leading. But a simple hesitation is all you need to be out of the DRS on lap 8.
I'm out of DRS, aren't I? Yep.
Here's some information on Hulkenberg. Okay, they're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
No!
Unfortunately for Nico and the Haas team, his car starts to have an issue a lap later, and his pace drops dramatically.
Let's just get past them.
looks like the weather's going to dry up in about 5 minutes' time. Okay, dry seems like the best tyre for now.
So the weather is about to dry up shortly, and as you can see from the Delta, driver Simon is starting to find his line through some of the tricky high-speed corners. Although, we are still hesitating at times, and the lack of confidence ultimately ekes into our consistency.
Shit.
The gap to Bottas continually widens by a few hundredths every few laps, but thankfully we haven't seen Joe in a while. On lap 12, Stroll retires, who wasn't having the best race himself. And a lap later on lap 13, our car begins to have an issue which completely freaks driver Simon out momentarily. Our engine mode is stuck on lean, losing what little advantage we had over the cars behind. Is this what caught Nico up to?
This is what happened to Nico. Vehicle condition. Oh, it's fine.
No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving.
Yeah, switch back.
Thankfully, the issue resolves itself within a lap. But man, those are some real stomach-dropping moments. However, with that drop in pace, Joe managed to pass us on the main straight on lap 14. This might possibly be our worst performing race in which we didn't have a lap 1 turn 1 incident. We are not really having the best time out here, and of course big moments like that don't really help our case. Our mistake gives Sainz a chance to improve his position, but driver Simon could have left him a little more room because that nearly ended both our race. We don't need any more angry Spanish tifosi in front of our hotel, driver Simon. You're endangering the lives of the entire Spark Racing team here.
Dry track soon, back to dry shortly.
We're already on dries, idiot.
See, even the game doesn't recognize the current mixed conditions. Parts of the tracks are actually drier than others, which makes finding the grip even more difficult than before. And unfortunately, driver Simon has another huge moment going through turn 12. Looking nearly identical to our Q3 moment, including having the same Ferrari behind us. This time around, driver Simon just managed to keep it off the wall and away from the cars, but we lose a couple more places and fall to P16 with that off-track excursion. We have no idea what caused that spin, but we call driver Simon to box early for softs. Now that the track is actually drying out, the Spark Racing team believe driver Simon can make up a lot of time having clean air and soft tires.
Early. It's pretty much dry now.
But of course, the in-game Strat team has something else in mind and undermine our strategy by putting driver Simon on mediums.
Wait, mediums? Mediums? Where are my softs? Where are my softs? Team!
Like, what the fuck, guys?
Dude, the fuck?
Why would they change our strategy without any notification?
Are you joking me? When did they switch my strategy? I swore I had medium soft, medium hard. Oh my god, those dumbasses. This better work out. Otherwise, I'm gonna be freaking pissed.
The only explanation is that the early call to box threw the game logic out the window, but regardless of the cause, our original race is no more. I mean, it's not the actual end of our race, it's just not an ideal strategy. I guess I should say, the backup to our race is no more. We merge out of the pit lane as P18. Alright, now that the track is bone dry, let's get it done, driver Simon. We still have a chance for an okay result. Points at this point is out of the possibilities, but the finishing rate is still a priority for the Spark Racing team.
Okay, gaps of the car ahead is 5.2 seconds.
You can't see it, my cameras are in the way, but the fastest lap graphic just goes off for almost half a lap with the track drying out, and it usually is not distracting at all, but when you get 15 back to back to back to back, it does eventually interfere with your limited brain processing, forces driver Simon to make another mistake.
Those graphics are actually distracting me.
Other than that moment, driver Simon managed to get in the zone, and despite his consistent driving, we are still unable to really close the gap to the cars ahead due to being on the incorrect tires. Something that driver Simon continually reminds Mark and the Haas team.
Only I was on sauce though.
Okay, gap ahead is 7.0 seconds.
Why would you put me on mediums, you idiots? God.
On lap 19, we pass a car in the pits, and again, despite driver Simon's consistency, we are still losing touch to the cars ahead.
And gap to the car in front is 8.0 seconds.
Oh my goodness, you're just getting farther and farther away now. I don't have the pace, the difficulty is just too high. I really can't wait till I just get to 110 AI. I don't ever have to worry about that being a variable. It's purely being like a car level or a skill issue, not an AI issue.
Keep an eye on that gap ahead, please. 6.5 seconds.
Now it's dropping now considerably. Wow, my time is so consistent. Look at that. Alright, let's conserve on battery now.
A few more laps later on lap 24, we see Bottas emerging from the pits, only a few seconds ahead of us.
Driver in front.
Bottas is ahead of you now. Okay, gaps of the car ahead is 2.2 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. We think they've got one more stop.
Had we switched on Sauce, we probably would have undercut Bottas, who probably still would have overtaken us on fresher tires. But hey, an overtake is an overtake.
I probably would have jumped him. Man, what a bonkers of a race. I can't believe this up.
Yeah, you tell him, Driver Simon. Speak the truth. Shit, no! Fuck, that was a mistake.
What am I doing?
We got a little too cocky, and we got humbled. Simple as that. Driver Simon, don't talk anymore.
Who do you think you are, Driver Simon? You're not Jimmy Broadbent. You're not Team at Marduk. You can't drive and talk at the same time. Ugh.
Somehow, we are still P17. What a weird race.
I would've jumped
But P16 is long gone. Driver Simon was feeling so defeated at this point, as we feel like we completely choked on our first big opportunity as a rookie Formula 1 driver. We feel like we failed all of you, dear viewers. If I was broadcasting to the non-existent viewers of 4 months ago, I wouldn't have cared as much. Now that I have an audience of people wanting to see Driver Simon succeed, the feeling of failing is actually present. But this story is not over yet. This race still has some life left, so let's do the right thing and see it to the very end. Driver Simon keeps his head down, and for the remainder of the race, we managed to keep it pretty consistent. It is always such a sinking feeling seeing cars emerge in front of the pits ahead of you when you know you should have easily jumped them, as Driver Simon so lovingly says whenever referring to undercutting his rivals.
Yeah, on medium tires, he would have overtaken me anyway, but at
Go
least...
ahead is a second a lap faster than you.
Oh, I didn't even hear that. I didn't even hear that he was that much faster than me, but I still would have forced him to overtake me, losing some time in the process. Instead, I lose 14 seconds, I think it was, thanks to that blunder. Is Yuki still ahead of us? I have a chance of being Yuki at least. Alpha tires are real slow today. Gosh, so slow there. Put some marbles. Let's recharge our battery back. Oh my god, what is going on? Thought I was gonna lose the back end there. Fuck. Don't talk during the section. Just don't talk. Commentator Simon will take care of it. Oh no, blue flags.
Despite starting P9 this race and having somewhat promising pace throughout the weekend, in the dry that is, it is another weekend where we see blue flags on lap 31.
I was really hoping not to see blue flags.
Blue flag.
No! Let's see if I can get a DRS out of this.
This was a bit of a smooth blue flag move if I say so myself, letting him by and then getting the DRS from Max.
Nice.
We do have one of the better cars in the straight line thanks to that Ferrari power engine, which really does come in handy for a mediocre driver like me.
You see that straight line speed though? It's kind of crazy. Can't catch up.
Blue flag, blue flag.
Try to do this again. Get the DRS again.
We continually see blue flags and Driver Simon tries to play the same move to get the tow, but we did not really account for a second car to let by, and we have another huge moment at our favorite part of the track.
Oh my god, are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? Oh, the Tifosi is gonna freaking murder me today. I really need extra security going back to my hotel and to the airport. That was probably on me. I was probably inadvertently weaved towards him while I was looking to my left mirror. Much like how the human brain kind of...
As if we don't need any more Tifosi to hate us. But man, Driver Simon really has an agenda to get every single driver on the grid to hate him. The Ferrari boys were on the docket this weekend, I guess. Thanks to the power of American manufacturing, the car managed to stay in one piece, and we somehow don't get a penalty for that action. A few laps later, the Haas Strat team wants Driver Simon to box for sauce for the remainder of the race of 33 laps. Seriously, our mediums are already starting to fall off after about 20. And they want us to go 33 on softs.
I have to go on hards now. It's so dumb. I can actually get pissed at this game because I had a strategy going in. I did not want to rely on this in-game strategy and all that stuff. And I guess me coming in a couple laps early because of my early mistake really just threw my team for a loop.
What are you guys smoking? Can I have some? Is that what you guys do to make these races more enjoyable? Maybe that is a secret in working for Haas. I mean, We do got that dang green in almost half of our country, so. Anyways, the SRT decides to override the Haas team and go for hard to the end instead.
Oh my god, shut up, let me box. I'm trying to hit the radio.
We have another head-to-head moment with the game when driver Simon tries to hit the radio button right when Mark decides to talk our ear off.
God damn it, fuck this game.
Which completely throttles our ram, which ultimately causes us to approach the pit lane too slowly at first, but then all of a sudden too quickly when his lack of ram space was unable to find the pit lane limiter button after struggling with the radio button. Seriously, what a stupid moment that cost us 5 precious seconds. But hey, driver Simon is human with limited processing power, and it is genuinely reassuring seeing real-life drivers make similar mistakes. We do manage to switch the tires back to the correct compound, and I again apologize on behalf of the entire Spark Racing team to our dear viewers.
No idea if I'm racing these guys.
We emerged behind a battle between a McLaren and an Aston on the lead lap.
Nope, they're on the lead lap, where I should be. I started with right behind the McLarens. So stupid how the radio just turns off as soon as they start talking. I was literally right as I pressed the button, he started yapping his stupid brain off. Who knows, God knows what about the freaking underbody. Like, I f***ing know, you dumb bitch. God. I'm just...
Whoa, chill, driver Simon, chill.
Alright, stop talking. Keep racing.
That's right. You know what to do already.
I lost a toe because I was too busy yapping about Mark.
The Spark Racing team needs to actually keep driver Simon to shut up on these tracks that don't require full concentration. Otherwise, the complacency really kills our race. And of course, driver Simon justifiably has a moment with his engineer.
Okay, shut up. Engineer, quiet. Are you freaking kidding me? This game is actually trying to piss me off now. Engineer, quiet. I totally understand racers yelling at the race engineers now. Like, they're freaking dumb sometimes. At least the game is. Alright, let's unlock myself against this McLaren.
Unfortunately for the Red Bull driver, we start to gain on him and overtake him to unlap ourselves on lap 39. We also managed to get Danny Rick, who's in the pits, and we move up to P17. The blue flags come out again for Perez, that driver Simon unfortunately has to obey to avoid more penalties, but like the lap before, we managed to overtake him on the straight with the help of DRS.
The lift here, because he's so f***ing slow. God, piece of shit. That was very unsportsmanlike from driver Simon, but who cares?
This time, we pull far enough away to avoid the blue flags.
P17 now, we've got P17. Okay, Sainz is ahead of you. Okay, keep an eye on that gap ahead, please. 18.0 seconds. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Ricardo behind you now. Okay, car behind trailing us. 10.3 seconds. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go. And 26 laps to go now.
Looking at where we stand in the race, we've got Sainz 18 seconds ahead of us on fresher hards, and Ricardo 10 seconds behind. There's not much we can do at this point to improve our race, so P17 it is.
Fuck, what am I doing?
You're in P17, P17. Okay, here's the gap that we're trailing the car ahead by. 18.1 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. That's Ricardo behind. Okay, push. Gap to the car behind. 9.8 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. 24 laps to go.
As long as I don't make another big mistake, I should be good with P17. I don't know if Ricardo can catch up to the 5-second penalty on old softs.
That is, until a few laps later on lap 48, we see a red flag for the second time this season. All thanks to Perez making an unforced error and just chilling on the racing line. What causes a red flag in this game is so consistent, but hey, we'll take what we can when we can. And would you look at that? Our unused softs can be properly utilized as well. Wow. If this is not the universe telling us something, I don't know what is. We obviously have driver Simon start on softs. Could it be, dear viewers, that we are granted an Ex Machina so late in the third act to completely save this god-awful Spain is pain race right after a quick pre-break?
Wow.
Alright, driver Simon, let's get this done. 19 more laps on softs. Probably the only car on the grid with softs. Can we squeeze our way back into the points? The AI are extremely susceptible to dive bombs on the first few laps, so we cannot be complacent. The 5 red lights are on once more, and someone's turned them off again! And we're off once more here at Spain! What a start from driver Simon. We take the inside line and overtake a couple cars, including our teammate. and we weave back to the inside to send the dive bomb next to the Williams.
Those marbles.
We have a beautiful wheel-to-wheel moment in traffic before having to give up the inside line to the Williams, as driver Simon sees an opportunity to go around all three of them, but
Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing?
say it is not true. Say it is not true. Truly a speechless moment for the entire Spark Racing team. I'm starting to get a feeling what Gunther has to go through every weekend. Poor guy.
Did I take Nico out too?
Damn, driver Simon. What happened?
Are you kidding me? That was some... I was feeling like a boss go around the outside, but... that was just a racing incident. The Alpine had nowhere to go, and unfortunately I took out my teammate. I believe that was a racing incident, actually. The Alpine had nowhere to go. It was 3 wide. That was a very intense first lap, though. Yeah, just getting completely sandwiched. Oh, damn, that was a big hit. Of course, it had to be Nico. All right, Williams, what's your angle?
I guess that's our first real racing incident, huh? Just absolutely sucks that Nico is the only one who really suffered from that. Honestly, driver Simon could have left more space, but he had no idea that Albon was on the other side of the Alpine. Well, there it be, dear viewers. Despite being granted the biggest Deus Ex Machina of this season, we hit another disappointing result after building some promising momentum.
Such a shame.
But again, that is real life. We are so accustomed to the satisfying endings from the stories we hear and see, or experience from those who truly are our main character in this life and achieve those satisfying ending after personal sacrifice has been made.
Spain is pain. What an absolute bonkers of a race.
But I guess I am not one of those main characters. But alas, dear viewers, this is a journey. Today, we may have lost the battle, but the war of consistency and mediocreness ravages on every day. The ultimate goal is to one day win a World Drivers' Championship to graduate into racing real-life meat-body racers in a dedicated league or jump right into iRacing.
Valtteri getting some more points.
Well, there was a lot of incredible driving out there today, but if I had to pick someone, it's got to be Sergio Perez.
But to be at the top, we need to get to the top, and we need to deserve it. And right now, we definitely don't deserve it. Thanks, Claire Williams, for that line. That's actually pretty good. Just like our acclaim level. Ouch.
Am I going to even make it to summer break? At this rate, I had high hopes coming into this race.
It's going to be a struggle to find a midfield team next season, let alone finding any team to want a driver like me behind their wheel. But with the support of you, dear viewers, we will earn it the hard way. The grind has only just begun. So thank you all for hopping on the train early. F1 Creator Series, here we come, baby. And I really do believe we will easily hit 500 subs before the drop of the new F1 24 game at the end of May, especially if we continue with the rates we are currently going. I do plan on scheduling a full day stream of my first 100% race distance weekend. From the moment I open the game to the start of the 5 red lights for Season 2 of this 100% race distance driver career mode with no assists, flashbacks, or race restarts. Honestly, I expect a lot of Jake in both the setup and during the stream, but we're going to have a blast. Don't worry, by the way, I also finally figured out how to use the text-to-speech feature for the chat, so I'll still be able to interact with you, dear viewers, despite wearing a VR headset. So stay tuned for all of that, and until then, I really hope I see you next time. But if not, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll probably see you never.